10 Minutes with Wild Wayne. And today, I'm talking about if you want to fire your coach, pump the brakes and watch this. I get it. 'Tis the season where your team has gotten off to a not-so-great start. You might have run your mouth during the offseason. You talked a lot of trash. You're in your feelings because you think your team should be better than what they actually are, and you want answers. You want to fire a coach. Well, let's talk about that for a little bit. So, people haven't been around that long, really, if you think about it in our ranks, okay? So, what I've got before you right now, this is the MEAC, and you can see just in the MEAC, you've got a little bit of stability. You've got two of the 6 head coaches that are in their 5th season, which is pretty admirable. And Trey Oliver and Larry Scott, you know, if the creek shall rise, they'll definitely be to a 6th season because they're doing pretty well this year. Now, a lot of people look at Damon Wilson in his 3rd season and they say that, well, he came over from Bowie State and, you know, he had explosive offenses, but we haven't seen it yet. And a lot of people are thinking that he could be out at Morgan State. And then you got Chennis Berry. He won the MEAC in year 1 at South Carolina State, and he's in a pretty good position to challenge in year 2. And then you've got the newbies with Deshaun Jackson and also Michael Vick. And Deshaun Jackson's doing really, really well. He's exceeded expectations, whereas maybe it's been a little bit unfair with the expectations on Michael Vick, but it's their 1st year. So you look through the SWAC. And here's where you've had so much turnover, where Eddie Robinson Jr. at Alabama State is the dean of coaches in his 4th season out of 12 coaches in his 4th season. And then you've got TC and Coach Woody and Coach Hampton at UAPB. They're in their 3rd season. And you knew coming into this year, if Coach Woody didn't win, he was probably going to be over. And a lot of people are thinking that Coach Hampton at UAPB will be over. And then you've got coaches in their 2nd season. Terrence Graves already was whacked at Southern. You got Mickey Joseph, who people talk about. You got Chris Dishman, who did a great job in year 1. And he's challenging here in year 2. People want Colsey gone in FAMU. People want Cedric Thomas gone at Alcorn State just after 2 years. And then you look here in the 1st season, you've got Coach Shea with Alabama A&M, Terrell Buckley, and Coach Tremaine Jackson at Prairie View. But you look at this, man, there's been a ton of turnover. You got the leading guy in the league with 4 seasons, and people want to get rid of 2 guys that are in their 3rd season and 3 guys in their 2nd. And 1 already didn't make it. And yeah, after last weekend at the Magic City Classic, believe it or not, there were folks who wanted to get rid of Coach Sam Shade. Crazy work. And then here in the CAA, all new people. And also in the Big South OVC, all new people. You've got first full season for Trenton Boykin. He was a interim last year, but this is his first full season as the head man in charge officially. John Gibbs at A&T, 1st year. Reggie Barlow, 1st year. You get it. There is so much turnover, man. And what has contributed to all of this? Well, before I continue to go on with my soliloquy here, what's contributed to a lot of this, man, is that fans have been unhappy. Boosters have been unhappy. You got a lot of people that set these really unfair expectations because you see another school winning and you say, hey, well, maybe if we get rid of this guy, we can start winning immediately. And ladies and gentlemen, it just doesn't work like that in 2025. And it's not just an HBCU issue. It's an issue all over America. Coaches are getting fired left and right for no apparent reason other than most of the fact is that you're not winning and you're seeing somebody else, maybe it's your rival competing. You want to win like them and all that good stuff. Nick Saban with Alabama, he got a lot of coaches fired in the SEC because you had these unrealistic presidents and administrators and athletic directors that said, we want to win, we want to win. But here's the thing that you got going on now in today's day and age, okay? Things that are external factors that you never had before that ratchets up the pressure immediately. You got transfer portal. You got kids that you need to recruit on your own roster. They leave. They're looking for greener pastures. You got to retain. You got to go replace them with guys. And also with this transfer portal, there's a lot of coaches now that are staking their careers on transfers because the pressure to win immediately, they don't want to do traditional high school recruiting and develop young guys because with the pressures of today's climate, you don't have time to develop guys. Also, you got this thing, name, image, and likeness, which is continuing to kick the behinds of a lot of coaches because you got players that leave for NIL. You got players that are unhappy for NIL. You got guys on your roster who are getting NIL who are upset because they're not making the amount of money that other guys on the roster are making. But also fans are upset because they're saying, hey, you brought in these great transfers. They're not performing. Hey, you got this guy on NIL and he's not performing either. And then you got the guys at the bottom, these boosters, these guys who are outside the program who just say, look, man, I don't care what you need to do. We're shelling out a lot of money. We're putting a lot of stuff together. You need to win. Also, they look at the fact that, okay, bottom line, people aren't showing up like they used to because we're not winning. You need to do something about it, head coach. And then you got guys like Jeff Landry. He ain't made any noise lately. He's been making a whole lot of waves down there at LSU. Guys like him, guys like these, situations like these, it's hard to manage in 2025. But also, you got these buyouts, man. And this is where I say on the forum of HBCUs, ladies and gentlemen, stop watching so much television because these places that have fired all these coaches in the power levels, they've had an astronomical amount of buyout money that they've had to pay. It's burning money left and right. And it's money at HBCU levels that we can't afford to burn. And so while you always say, I want to get rid of a guy, you got to understand that there are contracts. And inside of these contracts, there's this written figure that's put in there called a buyout clause. And it says that if you fire this coach without cause before his tenure is up on the contract, you will owe them this amount of money. And a lot of times it's amount of money that you have no idea about as a fan because because a lot of times it's not made public and a lot of times it's not made public by design. But the bottom line of this slide right here is you cannot afford to burn money. And what makes this thing so difficult when you're talking about trying to hire the right coaches? You consider all of these things that are on this previous slide. It ain't just coaching anymore. It's not just a 6 to 8 month deal anymore. You're coaching year round. You're up hours and hours and hours. There are so many different factors that go beyond even this. You've got situations where you're trying to develop a staff. You might have an offensive coordinator. Maybe he doesn't hit. Defensive coordinator. Maybe he doesn't hit. You're trying to get different things in different ways to try to win. And when you win, you got to enjoy the good times. And unfortunately, as I get towards the end of this video here, our fans have forgotten this one common thing. It's so hard to win. And when you do win, you got to embrace the times that you have when you're winning. Because when you get in the valley, it's hard as hell to get out of it. But sometimes, man, you got to just allow a coach to have a little bit more grace and a little bit more time to try to develop it. Just because you fired a guy 2 and 3 years in doesn't always mean that that person was not capable. And it also doesn't mean that that person is always a bad hire. Sometimes that person just needed a little bit of time and a little bit more grace to try to get things right. Maybe they had problems trying to develop a quarterback. Maybe they had problems trying to recruit a quarterback. You're spending so much time with the acceleration and the gas pedal mashed to the floor that you don't have a chance to pump the brakes. So, ladies and gentlemen, my appeal to you today is try to find some grace, try to find some peace, and Stop trying to always fire your coach because the grass is not always greener on the other side. You can mess around and fire a guy, he'll go on and he'll lead somebody else to a victory because they gave him a chance. And you can fire a guy and you can turn around and get the same thing you got in the next coach, if not worse. That's my time today. I'm Wild Wayne Cartwright. I'll see you next time.